Hi, I'm Benj. Welcome back to Doing Outdoors. Well, I'm at home today. I don't know if you've noticed, but the sun's out. We've actually woken up to a bit of a frost this morning. Now that is a good sign. That means there hasn't been a cloud in the sky all night, so it hasn't rained, which is quite a rare occurrence for this winter. But I've got a little bit of a job in mind this morning, and that is I've got some strawberry plants that I put into pots. When the strawberry plants was putting out runners last year, I managed to fill 20 pots, each with their own strawberry plant. And what I want to do is put some of those on into some of these baskets. Now this basket has come from a supermarket. I've got quite a few of them, but I thought they'd be perfect for putting some strawberry plants in and getting them in the greenhouse, hoping to get an early crop of strawberries. And also, by having them in the greenhouse, keep the strawberries away from the birds and the slugs that like to eat them before I get a chance. And what I'm going to put in these baskets to grow the strawberries in is my homemade compost. Let's have a little sneak peek. And I don't think that looks too bad. There's still quite a bit of woody material in there, but that will help keep it aerated. I'm quite pleased with that. It's just under a year old. There's been lots of grass clippings, quite a bit of wood chip that I've bought from up the farm to put in here as a brown material, quite a bit of cardboard as well. So like I said, I'm going to use these green plastic crates to grow these strawberries in. They're just about the right size to fit 6 plants, but they are full of holes. So what I am going to do is cover the insides just with cardboard. I suppose you could use paper, but that will just stop all the compost from falling through the gaps and hopefully help it retain its moisture. Now this isn't my idea. I got this from Charles Dowding. He does something similar, but I thought it was a good idea, so I'm going to give it a go myself. I really don't think that this compost is looking too shabby at all. We'll only know for sure when we get the results of the strawberries, but just looking at it and the smell of it, looks like good stuff. Right, so this is my strawberry patch. It's not very big, but you can see all these pots within the strawberry bed. Now, when the plants in late summer put runners out, I just pushed the runners into a pot of compost, and they rooted themselves, and you can see roots coming out the bottom of the pots. So in each of these pots there's 20 in total. I could have done quite a few more, but in each of these pots there's a healthy strawberry plant. I probably should have done this job at the back end of last season, but it's better late than never. And all I'm going to do is put 6 of these into these baskets, and hopefully we'll get a good early crop of strawberries that are safe from the pests. Well, there we go. I've pulled 12 plants out of the strawberry bed, and I've just trimmed off the dead to make them look a little bit more alive. But you can see within each of the pots they are pushing out brand new growth, so they are healthy plants. And all that's left to do now is get them put into this basket. but they've got an absolutely mega root system. Again, they've probably been in here a little too long. If I'd done this soon after they rooted themselves back in late summer, they might have done a bit better. And these baskets are just the right depth, I think, for growing your strawberries in. You've probably got 5.5 inches of compost in there. More than enough room for these strawberry plants to do well. Well, there we have it. 2 baskets full with strawberry plants. Fingers crossed they're going to do well. If I don't get an early crop, at least I'll get a crop on time with the rest of the strawberries, but they will be within the greenhouse, away from the pests, so they should give bigger and better fruit. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Let's go and have a look around the rest of the garden. Well, I don't know if you recognise this area, but this is where we grew sunflowers last year. And I don't know if you can tell, but we now are growing rhubarb. This rhubarb was growing on the other side of the garden, but it was underneath a lot of fruit trees. It was always in the shade, and obviously the fruit trees were robbing some of the moisture, and it just wasn't doing very well. It was a massive bulb, I don't know, 2 feet in diameter, and it was there when we bought the property quite a few years ago, and I've not touched it. But because it was decreasing in size, I thought I need to move it before I lose it altogether. So just 2 weeks ago, I dug up what was left, split it into 4 bulbs. In fact, there's a couple of pieces that I've still got out that I thought were dead. They were just left on top of the soil, and they've started sprouting, so I'm going to find somewhere for these to go also. But I've got 4 in the ground and they seem to be doing well. It does get quite a lot of sun on this side in front of this wall, so I'm hopeful that it's going to pick up and we'll get some good stems of rhubarb once again. And then we come round into where the fruit trees are. I don't know if you can tell, there are a lot of limbs on the floor at the minute, and that's because I came in here and I've hit them quite hard. Because they are planted so close together, it is only a small garden. I think I've only allowed 2.5 metres between each of the trees, and I've not pruned them back for probably 3 years, and they're really overcrowding one another, so I've gone in and I've hit them hard. Probably a couple of them I've hit them too hard. These first 2 I have only taken probably 30% out of the canopy. There's 3 there that were really strong, and I've whacked them back. There's a plum back there that hasn't really ever given any fruit, so I'm in 2 minds whether to get rid of that altogether. But with all of the branches that are on the floor, it's all going to get shredded. I haven't got a shredder yet. There should be a shredder coming today. Normally I'd just pile it up and burn it, but because I'm addicted to making compost now, it's going to get shredded along with other things that I've been keeping from out the garden, some out the veg plot. You can see we still have Brussels stems with a lot of Brussels on. Now, I grew those, we ate some for Christmas. I don't like Brussels, I'm not ashamed to say it, and in fact the Brussels that we take up the farm, the cows won't eat them, the sheep won't eat them, even the pigs won't eat them. If the pigs aren't eating Brussels, now that truly is saying something. So as nice as they look, they're going to go through my shredder and they're going to help make some good compost. There's a few other remnants of vegetables left within the growing spot up here, but not much. We're not eating much or anything out of the veg plot up home at the minute. And then just at the other side of where I'm making all my wonderful compost, we've got another couple of fruit trees. In fact, there's 3. These are spaced a little bit further apart. This one that I'm stood next to is a cooking apple tree, and those 2 are really nice eating apples. And you can see just down there, that's the pile of limbs that I've taken off these 3 trees. These I didn't cut back quite so hard. They didn't need it. So hopefully we're still going to get some sort of crop out of these 3 apple trees. There's a plum here. Again, it wasn't a massive tree. I didn't take tons off of this. It's the next one along that I really hit hard. It was probably about 15 foot tall. I've took half its height off, but it's never given any fruit out, so I'm thinking, what's the point of even having it? And just down this area, that's where the rhubarb was growing, and it's surrounded, fully surrounded by fruit trees, so you can imagine it wasn't doing very well at all. That's why it's ended up over there. Fingers crossed the rhubarb will bounce back, because I really do like a rhubarb crumble or a rhubarb and custard cake. One of the finest things to be eating. Well, all I need to do now is get my shredder, and then I'm going to be busy for the rest of the day. Well, it doesn't look like my shredder's going to turn up today, so I'm going to take the opportunity to get some more seeds started off. And something I've invested in for this year are some of these modular pots from Container Wise. These are a Charles Dowding design. It's going to be my first year trialing them. They look like good quality. I have already planted some onion seeds in some 60 cell modular pots. They're inside. They've already started sprouting. They've been in a week. But I want to get some turnips. We've got some early cabbage and some Calabrese broccoli that I want to get in. I am still propagating my seeds in shop bought compost, although I might actually try and sieve some of my own compost just as a comparison to see how well they do against each other. I'm always up for a side-by-side comparison. Well, there we go. I have just sieved a small amount of my own compost, and it doesn't look too bad. It is quite a bit more coarse than the shop bought compost that I usually use, but I have filled one 15 modular tray with my own compost, and I've got another one with just the shop bought compost, and I'll put some turnips in these and we'll see how they go on. Because my compost that I made is quite a bit more coarse than you'd like, I'm not expecting terrific results, but I'm not practicing on some high value seeds. We've got lots of turnip seeds and lots of time to grow turnips in, so I am following Charles Dowding's guidelines on how many seeds per cell I am to sow, and he recommends 5 turnip seeds per cell, so that's what I'm aiming for. Another thing that I've invested in, or got bought for Christmas actually, is a Charles Dowding calendar, and that tells you when he starts to plant which type of vegetable. And he's quite a knowledgeable man, so I thought it'd be worth following him for at least one season, just see how we go on. And we are putting exactly the same type of seed and number of seed per cell in the 2 different types of compost, and we'll keep an eye on these, how they go over the next couple of weeks, and see if there is any marked difference between the 2 different types of growing media. Well, there we have it. We've got the summer cabbage, the Calabrese broccoli. These are some of the red onion seeds that I planted just a week ago, and you can see them starting to sprout. They have been inside the house where it's warm, and once they've all germinated, they'll go down to the greenhouse. And then we've got the turnips, my own compost versus the shop compost. Just got to give them all a good drenching now, and that'll be that for setting seeds today. Well, it doesn't look like my wood chipper's turning up any time today. So I'm going to go inside, get myself a nice warm drink, and I think that's all we've got time for on this one. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.